Well, hi everyone, and welcome to the beautiful Eagle Farm, and welcome to this digital feature for Boyz On Tour. It's a new racing syndicate heavily involved with the well-known racing entity, and that's Black Soil Bloodstock. I'm Kiaarn Dickens, and it's my pleasure to host this feature with longtime friend Brian Siemsen from Black Soil Bloodstock and the founder of Boyz On Tour in Brian Henschell. How are you, boys?
Good, thank you, Kiaarn. How are you?
Yeah, good, fantastic.
B&B, together again.
Yeah,
B1,
Brian
B2.
and Brian. How good. Well, a special part of this feature is to introduce a new mental health initiative, and it's called Mates with Mates, and it's a key part of what the Boyz On Tour syndicate is all about, and we'll get to that shortly. All right, Brian, tell us briefly what Black Soil Bloodstock is about.
Well, I think we kicked off on the origins when you're on the back of Spirit of Boom and Temple of Boom, so we go a long way back, but that's where the origin of Black Soil kicked off. And then 2019, Harry McAlpine and I got together on the concept of Black Soil Bloodstock, and fundamentally it's all designed to breed, race and buy some of the best thoroughbreds. We tend to err on the side of the fillies side, and we race in the familiar black and white colours, predominantly up here in Queensland, and then a little bit with Paul Snowden down there in Sydney.
So a key part of your business, Brian, is providing opportunities for like-minded people to own a share of the horses that you purchase. Tell us about that.
Every year we'll purchase yearlings at either the Inglis sale or the Magic Millions sale, predominantly Magic Millions, but we are buying a lot more from Inglis now. And then we generally, Black Soil itself traditionally holds a large percentage in each of the horses, and I think that gives a lot of folks a lot of confidence in terms of the horses that we're purchasing. And then we generally syndicate the rest out to our membership group. So if we think back sort of even 12 months ago to horses like Skirt the Law and Isotope, I mean, they've been our two marquee successes. It's been a ton of fun putting syndicates together around both the Lady Syndicate and certainly the Isotope Syndicate. Lifelong friends have been made out of both of those two horses. Also helps when they buy and win and sell for many millions, because I think friends get around that a lot better, but we've had a lot of success around those two.
Brian, for the newcomers coming into racing circles, can you explain what Boyz On Tour is?
Boyz On Tour, we originated back in 2021, where a group of New South Welshmen, captained
Legends,
by
I assume.
Brian Siemsen, coming up from New South Wales, and a few Queensland people got together at Doomben. And I was very lucky that we created a punters club that day.
That's right.
Garibaldi and Miami Fleiss won, so that
And
made
Paladas, we won 3 races that day.
That's right, perfect, and that made the kitty really, really big. So that's
Really big.
Really big.
Stupidly big.
100%. So those 12 members eventually continued growing in a punters club to over 50 now, and the original 12 now make up 43 members of the Boyz On Tour syndicate.
I was probably fortunate enough to be involved in that day that Brian was talking about, because I remember
He sounds like a good day.
he rolled the whole kitty, unbeknownst to everyone, in Garibaldi.
You're not one
who
of them,
won by
are you?
5 lengths
That's the
down
rules.
the straight, right? So he rolled the whole kitty, and lucky
So it was a
Garibaldi.
nice surprise.
It was an amazing surprise, because I was over here, I could hear him all the way over there, and I realised that he's obviously rolled the kitty. So that immediately bonded a whole bunch of good people. But out of that, I've watched Brian develop this community and group of folks that are, like he said, like-minded, but they're really good fellas. And we've become really tight. We've travelled around. These boys came to Sydney just recently. And that group, from a buying perspective, has also now purchased good shares in some very nice horses, ones that'll even probably potentially be breeders later on, and so they're getting the full experience of not just coming in as owners. And some of these folks are coming in as first-time owners, don't have a lot of money, but they've got a chance to come in at lower cost. And Brian's done a great job setting that group up. So we want to support those folks by making sure that we have great success on the racetrack, and ideally we can sell a few through the sales after they finish racing.
The consensus around you really strongly want to buy into the fillies. Can you explain that?
Oh, I mean, the fillies is for us is not just having, the black and white of it is a colt that's gelded, can't be sold later on for value. We've had a lot of success identifying really well-bred fillies with good pedigrees. John Foote, Harry McAlpine, Tony Gollan, good judges. The run rate speaks to itself in terms of what we purchased, Skirt the Law, Isotope, and a whole bunch of other good ones. They've got residual value at the end. We prefer to have most of those go to the broodmare barn, but on exceptional results like Isotope that sold for $2.3 million just this year, that ownership group is ecstatic. Bought it for 1.3 million on the racetrack, sells for 2.3. Pretty crazy story for a whole bunch of folks who haven't been in racing too long.
And essentially it keeps the dynasty of the Black Soil sort of ticking over,
it does,
doesn't it?
And it's a return, and everyone's having fun, and as Brian said, it's a growing group of like-minded folks that it's not just there for racing, it's actually a really good strong connection that's developed over the last couple of years.
There are many ways for people to become owners in a racehorse, so tell us how Boyz On Tours is different from other ownerships out there.
Boyz On Tour, we focus on buying racehorse shares through Black Soil Bloodstock, and obviously we predominantly look at fillies, and when opportunities become available through Black Soil, I go back to the group and table suggestions, and we have a vote through our WhatsApp group.
Oh, the old WhatsApps.
That's it. And we then poll on how much we want to spend, how much share percentage we want to invest in, and then we just get the deal done. So far, smooth sailing. We've got 3 quality fillies on the ground, 1 2-year-old, 2 3-year-olds. Soon to see some of them race, so we're really keen for that day.
But pedigrees really speak for themselves.
Oh, pedigree's enormous, and that's one of the key factors in the success, in my belief, Brian, that of Black Soil Bloodstock, as you mentioned earlier on, is the quality in the pedigree, which has given you success on the track.
It just gives us optionality. I mean, the horses finish racing, and we're either going to say, hey guys, we'll put them through a public sale and we'll buy them back because we want to breed with them, or come on that journey with us. And for folks who don't know much about breeding, or they don't know about racing, they race with you guys, they breed with us if they want to do that from a later stage perspective, and it just gives everyone a full experience. I mean, we've got now folks from Boyz On Tour coming to the Magic Millions 3 or 4 days before, and we're now hosting a around the ground sort of walk around with a good bloodstock agent who's just there so they can see what goes on behind the scenes and selecting some of these.
Yeah, we've got owners in New Zealand, we've got owners in New South Wales, Melbourne, Queensland, so it's a diverse group. It's good quality. The banter is always good amongst the guys face to face.
It's like really good quality coming
100%.
out of Queensland, right?
That's right, correct. Yep.
Really good quality coming out of Queensland.
B1 and B2.
And it's a real, for mine personally, I think it's a real different experience when you're talking, as opposed to just going into a horse that's already up and running and on the track. When they're coming from a foal and going through their entire process to get to the track, it's a really fun experience. It's
100%.
It's quite lengthy, but it's a real journey.
Yeah, it's a great journey. You get really connected to them too.
Well, the ongoing interest from our group, and obviously we talk WhatsApp because that's where we do most of our communication, is there's always questions asked, and communications through the Collins stable regards to the horses is top shelf. That's shared and everyone's excited.
Yeah.
Let's introduce Mates with Mates. Tell us about the name and what it means.
Mates with Mates was created with the idea around a supportive network group for men, and obviously around the awareness, the public awareness with mental health throughout the world that we were speaking about earlier on. Our extension of that, we form group chats, social events. It's an opportunity for us in our group chats to recognise not only what we're doing and how our horses are going and the updates on that, but personal achievements, birthdays.
So that's naturally occurring, right?
100%.
It's incredible to watch.
It's on and off the field, on and off the track stuff as well. Which again, you can just feel the strength in what we're forming in relation to our group, and it's just spread. Everybody gets involved, everyone supports everyone, whether that's in the group or private chat, text or anything like that. And it's amazing how the group's been created and how they are now.
So it's essentially a bit of a community as well.
100% it is. Like as I say, it's not just all about owning a racehorse.
No, it's probably less. I'd hazard to guess that's lesser of what it is.
I was going to say that's probably one leg of many.
I mean, there's blokes raising funding for kids' sports. There's a whole bunch of care that goes on in there with a few blokes who've had challenges in there, and you get back channel behind the scenes. I've had a couple of those experiences this year with what's going on with my family and my wife, and these guys turned up to Sydney. I couldn't go. It was supposed to be our show. All of a sudden there's a bunch of flowers arrived at my house, and these guys have just got behind, and messages and gifts and all that sort of stuff. And I sat back on that a couple of weeks ago and just went, we're building something pretty special here. Racing just happens to be the connector that brings the community together, and it's giving me goosebumps. It's,
me too.
It's what it's about. And I think about, if we think about men's health and what's going on at the moment, I was telling Brian before, I sponsored a guy this week. He's walking 60 kilometres. he tells me a stat that 60 men per hour globally. Of the 800,000 people that are committing suicide, 75% of those are men. Men are under a lot more pressure, not than women, but under a lot more pressure these days. We're not really used to coping and how to handle it.
These aren't good talkers.
We're not good talkers. So this is where this community has really, and you watch this vulnerability, and I think that's something that men aren't really good at. But when they're in a safe space, in amongst mates, and you've got that jovial banter, it doesn't have to involve being on the piss all the time and being. It's just a really good community and we want to grow it. That's why we had a chat the other week and said, hey, listen, what do you think? And he came up with mates, and there wouldn't be one bloke that wouldn't resonate with what we're talking about right now, whether privately or publicly. There wouldn't be one bloke that wouldn't resonate with it.
I think for myself as well, this is my first time learning about this new initiative and syndicate, but something like this in this community you guys have built, it dead set gets people out of bed.
It does.
100%.
This sort of thing.
It
Yeah.
does, mate.
100%.
So
Yeah, it does.
well done.
Yeah, thanks.
So what will Boyz On Tour do to deliver objectives of Mates with Mates?
We will continually, I suppose, promote our passion for horse ownership, networking amongst our supportive group. But not only that, if other syndicate companies or people that want to come on board in relation to either forming a syndicate, or they got one or two people that want to be involved, they can either join the Boyz On Tour brand, or we can show them ways of forming their own syndicates like we have, and snowballing our passion in relation to our drive for Boyz On Tour.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's good.
What is the experience an owner can expect with Boyz On Tour?
Like, I suppose, all horse owners, they want success on the track, but we're not just about that. Winning on the track is just a small portion of what we're about. It's about forming friendship, lifetime experiences, social events, stable visits, spelling farm visits, all of that sort of stuff. So it's more or less the community. As I say, we have the same passion in wanting to be involved in horse ownership, but it's very diverse in what we can do and how we go about doing what we do and what we enjoy.
And Brian, wouldn't you say that the type of folks that we've connected to, whether it's Tony Gollan or John Ford or it's Harry McCowan, whether it's a farm visit, whether it's something to do socially, I mean, the ability for us to be connected to any experience that those punters / members want to come on that journey with us, we've got access to.
100%, and all of those people that you did mention are very, very warming to us in wanting to do things and to promote not only us but them, as well as seeing what we're involved in, and obviously seeing the horse. And you mentioned earlier on about how exciting it is to buy a horse as a yearling and see it go through to the races. All of that journey and those experiences throughout all of that process in looking at the horse, watching it work, get the videos from the trainer and all that sort of stuff. Everybody's excited about it.
Yeah, it's that mateship too, isn't
100%.
it? Lifelong mateship.
Yeah.
Right, so you made the burning question. When are you intending to buy your next round of fillies for Black Soil Bloodstock?
Yeah, we'll be active again this January. Magic Millions is predominantly our premier sale for us. It's where we do where we fill sort of most of the buying bench. For those folks who wanting to get involved, generally you can come and be a member as part of the Black Soil Bloodstock membership group. But through our Boyz On Tour syndicate team, generally for folks who are looking for a way to get into racing, experience something more broader than racing, that's a great way to come in, and it's typically at a lower cost as a bigger membership group. So either way, directly through Black Soil Bloodstock or Boyz On Tour. And if you're a gentleman out there who wife might want to come into the ladies' horse, come to me. And so you can get into the Black Soil, you can get into the Boyz On Tour side and have a whole bunch of fun as well.
I think too, just something I've noticed, and because you do have this really good tight-knit community, it's what I feel for someone who's new to the game and wants to join. It's very approachable. I think if they got 100%. Hold of your number, there's no drama in them giving you a call and asking them about it. Whereas people are put off by that sometimes.
100%. We don't.
It doesn't cost anything to ask.
It doesn't cost. Yeah, exactly right. And
You've
known us for decades. Like in terms of there is a whole bunch of humility.
I'm only 21, Simo, so.
You've known
1 decade.
Okay, 1 decade. Actually, almost 1 decade. The better part of 10 years, and there's a whole bunch of humility. Right, we all went through that same journey of learning it on the way, having our first horse, asking all the dumb questions, And when you've got a trainer like Tony, like, you don't want to ask too many dumb questions, but he's a great educator along the way. So, and we just try to do that for others within the community.
Yeah, I think that approachability with what you guys have is gold.
Yeah.
It's just a case of sharing our experiences with that new inquiry. You know, that person could be a fish out of water.
Yeah.
But how our community is, whether it be in the Black Soil Bloodstock or with Boyz On Tour, you know, we just put our arms around people and just show them the way and different ways to go about doing it.
How many inquiries have we got that start out with, I'd like to get into one of your horses? Great. The first question everyone asks is, what do you got to spend? We don't. What experience are you looking for?
Yep.
There's a real difference in those two. One is a transactional, another one in the tin. Okay, cool. Everyone needs that. What experience are you looking for? I don't know. I'd like to learn more about racing. I'd like to learn the breeding side. I'd like to visit a stable. I'd like to come to the sales. I'd like to come to the race. I'd like to feel what it is to have a winner. Cool, understand that.
We've got the flexibility to tier their investment.
Sure.
Tier their interest, whether it's 20% on their own or whether they want to get 20 people together to buy 10%.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is sharing what we know and what experiences we've had in doing and forming that, and letting them give them the tools and let them make the decision. But coming on board in either way, shape or form, that experience is second to none.
Yeah, and in big, powerful entities or well-known entities, it's easy for someone, as you said, who's new to the game. And it's not just horse racing, this is across the board, to be put off by that image. But as I said, they can ring up, have a yarn with yourself.
Yeah,
it's very sort of light-hearted.
Very relaxed.
Yeah.
Very relaxed. We love talking horses.
Well, thanks a lot, boys, for the overview on Boyz On Tour and Mates with Mates. Obviously forms part of Black Soil Bloodstock. What do we need to tell people? We can stay across our socials.
Yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Follow us. Whether you're just looking to voyeur into the business for a while and see all the runners and winners that we've got, and then if you want to reach out to us, send either myself or Brian a DM. It's either Brian or Brian.
That's great.
You could either go to Brian or Brian on a DM.
Right. Well, thanks a lot, gentlemen, and of course stay across Black Soil Bloodstock social media for more of these exciting initiatives.
And thanks to Kiaarn,
Thanks,
the legend.
Kiaarn. Well done.
No worries.